Well, good afternoon again. This is part two. I don't think I have ever made a part one and a part two, so today feel privileged to be out here with me for part number two. Now, if you tuned in yesterday, you heard me read a couple of scriptures out of Psalm 139. Verse 17 was my main highlight verse. But here we're actually focusing on something else that's directly from the words. What I would ask you to do, if you would, if you have not listened to part one, you need to listen to part one in order for you to understand part two. Okay? So I would ask you to take just a minute or two to go back, spend a few minutes there, and then come back to listen to part two, because they're going to be end to end. I'm going to post them end to end at the same time so that it won't get separated. I don't want it to get separated. But we talked about the thoughts, and I'm going to read verse 17 again. It says, "How precious also are the thoughts unto me, O God, how great is the sum of them." Now, I listed several things that was on my little paper here that came from the devotional that I spoke about yesterday. And one of the things that is on the back side of the page was the word secured salvation. Secured salvation. You know, I'm glad to know that I have secure salvation. And I'm going to start back up at the very top of the list that you will find in part one. He overflows me because he's given me secure salvation. He consoles me because he's given me secured salvation. His mind is on me because of his secured salvation. His eyes watches me based on his secure salvation. His thoughts of me is tender thoughts only because of his secured salvation. His love is far-reaching, all because of perfect salvation. He has never-ending benefits, all because of personal salvation. My meditation and my focus allows me to see salvation as being precious to me. His endless mercy and grace is because of his wonderful, never-ending salvation. Our final destination is because of his secured salvation. I like that word, secured salvation. He's my eternal watcher, all because I have secured salvation. Let me tell you what that word secured means. We got a couple more to list, but the word secured, you know what came to my mind? What little bit of money I have in my savings is in the bank, and that money is secured by FDIC. It is insured by the federal government, that the government will insure the funds that I have. That means that that money is secured money. If I was to take that money and I was to bring that money back home and put it in a shoebox and hide it somewhere, that money is no longer secured. I'm taking a gamble that money can be taken. That money can be burnt. That money can catch on fire. But when your money is secured, it is insured. My salvation is insured because my salvation has been made secure only in Jesus Christ. He knows our every hurts. And you know why he knows our every hurts? Because he sees that his promise to us was eternal salvation, secured salvation. So why is it hard for me not to believe that he knows our every hurt? He knows your every hurt. He knows our every pathway. He knew the pathway that I walked to get in to this little building right here. He knew the way that I went. I didn't go through the wall. I didn't bust through the wall in this little thin piece of plywood on the wall. I went through the door. He says here, he knows our every pathway because of his personal secured salvation. He knows all things about his child. That means he knows all things about me. You know what? This is not hard for me to make this message because of secured salvation. He cares like no one can. All because of secured salvation. And it don't stop there. This brings his child never-ending joy because of his secured salvation. I want to read verse 18 to you. Verse 17, to keep it in context. How precious also are thy thoughts unto me, O God. How great is the sum of them. Talking about the precious thoughts. If I move down to verse number 23, David says, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts. Do you think that David had to ask God to search him because God was too ignorant to search him? No, here's what God was doing. God had already been searching him. And because of David's secured salvation, David wanted the Lord to search him. Search me, O God, and know my heart. God already knew his heart. David is just being humble to say, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Now you know what? There's two everlastings. One everlasting is secured salvation with the Lord in heaven. The other everlasting is in the lake of fire that God never intended for you to have to go through. So see, today, you have a choice. You can only be the one to make the choice. God's thoughts knows his child, but he does not know the person that is not his family. And if you're not in his family, then he doesn't really know you. Now, does he know you because he created you? Yes, he does know you because he created you. But that doesn't mean you're in his family. It just means that he knows you. And he's offering you everlasting life with him in heaven. I hope you take him up on that offer.